Do you see my whole screen or just now?
I think we've got a picture of you at the moment. No.
Hold on. How's that? Is it following my screen or?
I can see the document, which is Gravity Working Group Call Notes.
Do you still see the document?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I could sort of talk through the high-level headings and see what people want to discuss, because there's kind of choices.
Yeah. Do you want to run through like intentions, distractions first at all, or I don't know, that's kind of like how it's a good way to start.
Yeah, no, if you know a good way to start, please, obviously.
Yeah, I can start off. So, my intention today is to run through Gravity, what's going on, see what we can do to um, help out. I know a lot of this falls to Wonka, so kind of figuring out roles and a structure that can help him out a little. 'Cause I know he's super busy, and this is a community thing, so that's my intention. I also wanted to talk about the Giveth and how we want to manage um, the Gravity project on Giveth, and distractions. Just figuring out how to work the screen share, I guess. I'll pass it to Bianca.
Yeah, I can't see the screen right now for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good thing to discuss. Like, what are the better things that we can do so Juan doesn't keep like the most work of it. I know, like, we all sometimes go to Juan to ask for help and all that, and he's kind of like the heart of Gravity. And we all appreciate it a lot. Um, he's been doing a great work on it, but it's a lot on him too. I hope that after this training, we have more people join Gravity and more people have helping out with it all. I am the coordinator assistant. I've been trying to help him as much as I can too. And I've been asking him, like, Juan, when you need something, like, please reach out to me. But also, I'm involved in other projects and personal life stuff too. So, yeah, I don't know what the best thing to do is. In the beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year, we did some roles where people assigned for. Some people had jumped off, some people sticked on. So yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do, and if we're gonna do like another enrollment for the next 3 months, because I think it was just for 3 months. The thing that we did before.
The budget or the
Yeah.
yeah.
And Juan is traveling. I don't know if he's traveling like at this moment, but he like today I know he's busy like with travel stuff. Going back to Colombia.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Someone else want to go quick?
Shall I go?
Sure.
So my intention today is to try and follow up on what we were talking about last week, which was continuity, which kind of fits quite well with coordination anyway. So I think that's a good thing for us to be discussing today, because I think that's what we normally try and do anyway. So that's my intention. And then distractions. I had some errands to run before I got into the meeting, so that was a small distraction, but I've managed to get over it.
Awesome. Thanks. Do you want to pass to someone who hasn't gone yet?
Yeah, I'm just going to get to the right place. Okay, Angie.
Hi everyone. I'm Angie. My intention for today is to learn a little bit more about Gravity, meet its people, and contribute in what I can. And I'd also like to plan this mental health event thing with Bianca. We did one last month and it did great. So yeah.
Right. Distractions?
Oh, distractions. Well, today I'm very excited to watch Obi-Wan. So, but I have to work first.
And there's sort of, I think that leaves Bear.
Yeah, thank you. So my intentions, I think, would be this part of coordination within Gravity. I think that's a really important matter, and I think it's a great opportunity to start coming up with new ways of doing things. So yeah, I think that's my intention. And distraction, I'm a little tired, but yeah, just that. And I see just that someone joined, so we're doing intentions and distractions for the call. If you wanna answer, streamer, I pass it to you.
I want to get a bit up to date with the calls. That's why I wanted to join today. Keep it update with Gravity. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Was that everybody? I think so. Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like coordination and like continuity is the main thing we want to discuss. So what do we Innovator, you put this together, right? Is there anything from like just these thoughts on meeting continuity, like how we're doing notes, engaging with people, even transparency that we want to discuss? What could we improve on? What do you think we could do that would, increase that continuity from meeting to meeting? Does Does anyone have any thoughts?
Do you want me to talk through? And maybe if I kind of put something on the table, then that might prompt some people to think a little.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so I mean, we talked about continuity last time, about how to, as you rightly say, carry threads through from between meetings, really. And I think, I mean, Juan's been keeping these call notes, quite carefully and for a while, and it's a good thing to be able to go back and look through, and there are some threads there that we can see that people can pick up on and say, oh, okay, what's happening about this? So that was kind of my first bullet point, and then there's a potential to discuss here today, how do we alert people and engage people with things that we're doing. And I think the other thing would be, have we thought about the purpose of the meeting, who we want to attend? I mean, there's lots of different reasons people can attend. So I guess when we get people turning up on a week-to-week basis, we find out. I think the other thought I had was, does publishing an agenda beforehand help, so that people have got, rather than a blank page, they've got something to look through to say, is this something that is going to be interesting and that I want to come and contribute to? And I think the final point I wanted to make was, as a suggestion, we can create subthreads. So I kind of took a bit of initiative and I've created some subthreads, because that would be a way potentially to discuss topics between meetings. So we can get into a meeting, there's a limited amount of time. It's difficult to kind of talk about a particular topic in much depth, but it could be a discussion topic in between times if there's a subthread and people say, okay, look, let's go and continue a discussion in a subthread. So those are some ideas, and it's just what people think about them, whether they think they're a good idea or a bad idea, or it would just be interesting, and if people have got their own ideas.
I think it's great, Innovator. I think that initiative is really helpful for everyone. I would also like to suggest and to mention that in the sample working group, we are using a platform called Clarity. It's kind of like a combination between Google Docs and dWork, like for bounties and stuff like that, token related. And it's been pretty cool, pretty useful, because it has a lot of functionalities in terms of coordination and in terms of for example, you can have like we have here a page for the agenda, and then you have the ability to create a project or a task with any of the lines written, like just with one click. And then that starts creating like a roadmap where you can organize your different goals for the month, your different projects. You can add contributors to that. You can add deadlines. So it's a pretty powerful tool that we are using, and maybe it would also be it would bring a benefit to Gravity if we consider using it. Maybe if you guys wanna take a better look, I can share the link in the chat. And also, actually, in yesterday's call in sample, we had like a walkthrough of the platform. So if you go to YouTube, you can like rewatch the sample call, and I think it's like probably the first couple of minutes where the walkthrough happens, so you can watch it and see, like, yeah, if you wanna try to look for it, then that would be great.
Wireless shampoo.
Or if you want to go to the left, like in your subscriptions, there's the token engineering, yeah.
That would make sense.
And just go to videos at the top, and I think is the last one that was, yeah, that one.
Do you want me to
Play it?
yeah.
If you guys think it's a good idea, yeah, I'm down for it. Or if you prefer like keep the discussion, you guys
Yeah.
can watch it like at another time as well. I
Yeah.
was just like bringing it out.
I'll add a link to the agenda, but what do you all think? Do you want to watch it, or is this kind of like along the same lines? Do we want to keep the meeting more efficient and well?
I'm just wondering if the link's posted for us, then we can watch that kind of independently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
as long as we've got the link. Yeah.
yeah, Benz,
I'll
if you
put it-
could just post the YouTube link and I can post the actual link from the platform, then you guys can check both out.
Yep.
Sounds
Thanks.
good.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Bear.
Yeah, thank you. I like that.
Yeah.
So for next meeting, then maybe we can talk about possibly using that too.
I mean, would you say that do you feel that that's a good continuity tool?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I think it can bring a lot of continuity and structure. And I think we could rely more on like roles and projects and not so much like in people, like in names. I mean, like if someone can't do a specific task in that moment, well, maybe someone else can take it. But everything is going to be there. It's like a place where we can centralize all our work, right? All of our operations. So yeah.
Cool.
Is that dot? I had it at one point. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's .so.
.so.
Yeah, I just shared it, but I think it's not throwing the link. So that's the one, like you have tech writers clarity, yeah. .so, yeah. So maybe you want to go just like to the main one, like delete all the URL and just leave like clarity.so. I guess that will throw you to the like homepage.
Does everybody? Oh,
Yeah, let me try to find a link where it shows like more of the explanation, and I will share that one.
okay. Okay. Does anyone have any other thoughts on this? Well, Bear's pulling that. I haven't played around with it much, but I think it sounds like it could be really, really useful. It'll just take a little bit to use. We use so many different platforms. It'd be nice to bring kind of everything into one place.
What do you use on in Giveth, Benz?
There much more in Notion, which and GitHub and ZenHub. So like
Yeah.
notes are in Notion, and then the like project management is all in ZenHub, pretty much.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And And maybe like, I mean, GitHub and ZenHub are kind of linked with because of the development side, and maybe if we're not having a lot of coding stuff going on, it might, Clarity might be a really good alternative because we don't maybe need that Git functionality as much. I don't know.
Yeah, I just shared the link in the chat. Yeah, I think this is more like less technical, more just like for notes and text. But it's pretty powerful, yeah. And I think for the work that Gravity does, maybe it could work.
We'll need to ask Juan when he's landed again, because I think he's in the air somewhere at the moment. But I think we have looked at ZenHub in the past, and we've certainly used dwork, and whether we're using a combination of those two things. So and as to the technical side, I don't know. That would be something that Juan may have, sort of some thoughts about. So I can't sort of fully provide an answer on that as to what our future plans are. Bianca, what would you say? Have we got any thoughts about that? Is Bianca still with us?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm just getting home right now. Yeah, I think that can be very useful for us in Gravity. I need to look at it more and understand better how it works. But from what Bear was saying in Ben's, it sounds very interesting. It sounds very cool, and I'm excited to see how it works.
Okay. I wouldn't mind playing around with it a little bit, but maybe we can do a deeper dive on that, or even start a thread. Is that thread worthy, do you think? Is this a good use of like kind of async in between syncs, using that thread to explore some of that?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
think
that thread. I reckon the
both
thread
agree.
could be used. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And I just shared the link here in the chat of the call, if you wanna take a look.
I think that coordination, the continuity and coordination thread is actually a good place for it.
Okay, yeah, just add it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Right.
So next topic, if we're good to move on. Did you want to? I think we might have talked last week on this, Innovator, but just what were you thinking here? Like, I guess this ties into that continuity and coordination too. Is like packaging all that together helps cut down on the noise and is more of a signal amplifier,
It could. Yes, it could help. Yes. Yes. I think the other thing that I'm keen on is that, as well as the technical side of things, there's also a wraparound, a social wraparound, where there need to be pathways to show people. I mean, one pathway is you come into a DAO and you need to kind of find your way around as fast as possible. So you need signposting, you need maps, you need those kinds of things. And you've got to be pointed to them. Once you get there, if it's a good platform like Clarity, then maybe that's reasonably self-explanatory, but you still kind of need to be pointed to the platform. So that's one kind of pathway, and the other pathway is for ideas, and where people want to kind of submit ideas and they want to see how ideas are progressing. Is there some have people come together as in a team to support a particular idea? Have they put a proposal together? Is it turning into a project? Has it turned into a product? So those, that's a different kind of pathway. So it's that kind of signposting and what we can do in Gravity to kind of help people who arrive and kind of are saying, okay, where can we go?
Yeah, I agree. I think like the way I see it is like it would be nice to kind of like have some kind of onboarding process or like a front desk for Gravity where new people can just go and ask where to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, normally, Bianca's kind of our go-to person for that. If somebody comes into the channel, then Bianca's there, and Bianca looks after people. Equally, she's kind of been, I don't know, was it a week you were away for, Bianca? And there's kind of there's a big hole where Bianca was before. So we want to be able to provide for that. It's a kind of continuity thing again. What happens if Bianca's unwell, or needs to go and visit family, or whatever. Things happen. So having a kind of a backup approach it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's part of this idea of like not relying too much in names, like in specific people, but having a well-defined role where any person that that whenever we need it, someone else can take it, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I was thinking, how can we do, like, should we do like a pin message where people go for to get welcome? Because I feel that that's also like a TC, I don't want to say problem, but I can find another word, where people get into TEC and they don't know where to go exactly. We have kind of like an onboarding call, but it's not called an onboarding call on the orientation call, right, for TEC. But that's also hard for people to know that it's happening. So
I think there's also like, the kind of the intention of Gravity is to be its own standalone thing at some point too. So it's like, if we're moving that direction, we should probably, it'll always be associated with TEC, but I think more and more like the thought is that it'll stand on its own. So that might be something we need to look at anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as I understand it.
Also, I think in the meantime, it would be maybe nice to get in touch with the people in Communitas, because they are also working on this aspect, like what Bianca was saying, onboarding to the TEC. And actually, they have an initiative. I think Jason, he was doing it, an initiative of like reviewing all the pin messages across the TEC and kind of like giving them a format and a structure, so like they are all clear and they are all the same for people to check out. So maybe it would be good to have like some coordination with that working group and with Jason as well.
Yes, I think I could do that. Or would you want to do that, Bianca?
Sorry, I didn't fully understand what to do.
Well, it's, I guess, just like talking and seeing how's that initiative going, talking with Jason and with the community's working group about the pinned messages and the onboarding processes that they are working on.
Okay.
Would you prefer to do that? Sorry, Bianca, would you prefer to do that, or would you prefer I did that?
Either way, do you know Jensen?
No, but I'm quite good at asking dumb questions.
You can do it.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, I can share his handle on the Gravity channel just so you guys know.
Thank you.
Before I was saying more like that it's kind of like a TC issue where people get into TC and sometimes they're like don't know where to go. I feel like and sometimes it happens in Gravity too, where people is like, okay, so what's this about? And what's going on, where to go. People ask me on DM and I tell them like the calls that we have before we were having the Lee and Jeremy what's it called? I forgot, sorry.
Liberating structures.
Yeah. They were having that, so I was telling people so I don't know, maybe we should have like like a message that we tell everybody, like a formal,
You mean
like
like promoting the like things like liberating structures more, or
no, like I was saying like before when it was happening, people were DMing me and I was saying like, oh, the calls that we were having, now we're not having that anymore, but I'm still saying that like we were having this and that. So maybe we should have something like the pin message where we can just go and get like that message that somebody already wrote and just send it to them. So like a model kind of thing. I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
like a message template?
I think what you're talking about is the inclusive welcome that they used to use. Is that right?
No.
Welcome to
Yeah,
Dash.
more like a message template.
Well, the thing is, there are 33 different liberating structures, so you have to know
No,
quite a
I'm
bit
not
about
talking
them.
about literary instructions itself. I was just
Okay.
saying that when people message me, I tell them what's going on in Gravity and I tell them the calls. I'm not talking about liberating instructions itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the website, we could definitely have an onboarding thing, and one of the plans for the website is to also take advantage of HubSpot, where when somebody signs up, let's say for a newsletter, I want to have onboarding messages, then we could send them a message for the welcome, send it to them the next day, send them in 3 days, in a week, in 2 weeks, a month, and then that can gradually onboard them with the resources they need, and all that can be automated, and you don't have to have an individual person having to pay attention to it the entire time. So that can really help.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very nice.
So that's kind of in the plan. The website will be a big resource, by the way, because it's going to be, instead of like it is in the TEC where we have mirror boards and all these different things, all these different places, it's going to be everything in one spot. So, so there'll be a front end for everybody, and then there'll be a back end for people who are at different levels of participation, and give them access to different kinds of resources. So in many ways, you can gradually onboard people just through that process too.
Durgados, is the website, are we thinking that's even going to be like kind of serve kind of the function that I don't know if you were on when we were talking about clarity.
Yeah, like we need another platform.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, are we going to use Notion, Miro? I mean, we just have so many different platforms, and I just personally don't do well with these giant Miro boards with a million different components on it. It's like a sea of information. I have no concept of where I am or what I'm doing. I just want to be able to, I don't know if you saw, we did in terms of onboarding, we did early on, we took a thing that I had made to it's the kind of the onboarding journey. Did you guys ever see that graphic that we made?
I think I did. I think I was hanging out in Communitas a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe.
Well, this is before the Communitas group even existed, I think.
But through that group.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to just find it now.
Just to throw it over there, I think Clarity would be great because it would actually be replacing a couple of platforms. I think it could do a better work than, let's say, D-Work, Notion, Google Docs, maybe even ZenHub. So it's kind of like a combination between all of those in one. So I guess maybe it would be a little complicated. It's just like in sample, right? Like a little complicated to get the hang of it at the beginning, but then once you start, you get rolling and things get easier because you are just like focusing everything in one platform. And it's also just text Durgada, so like there's no like big boards and like Figma or Miro, but you can still like link anything that you want. So like the option is there for people that want it.
So this is the I guess I just have platform fatigue, 2 years into my TEC journey. I just feel like I've got 10 chat programs. I got I don't know, it's just my personal thing. But this is a thing that we did, and that was based on the another graphic that I had. I'm trying to find it now. Is this the one? Yeah. So we kind of converted this into Acid Laser did this. So what's cool about this is then, there are really only two narratives inside of this. I mean, you need to know all of the other narratives, but there's the narrative up to the point where a person participates, and then there's the narrative that starts from participation onward. Do you know what I mean? So when we're writing blog posts and different things, we should kind of know which of those two narratives we're dealing with, and this kind of thing. So I feel like the one thing that I'm trying to improve over the TEC's process is the TEC's communications is just so scattered all over the place, and so there's really only one place or two places I want the person to have to go for information. One is the website, and two is Discord, right? And so I get that once we're participating, we might need other kinds of things, but up to the point where you're trying to get into the point of participation, I don't feel like we should require all these other platforms, if you know what I mean. That's just my feeling. Because I feel like what we do when people show up in the consideration phase is like, here are the 50 things you have to know to be able to even participate, right? So
Can we?
And
I just want to say, can we record something on this in the minutes, please? In that, there are going to be people who do have platform fatigue as something that is problematic, and to be inclusive, we want to try and find solutions to these situations. So
right.
if it's possible for us to just record that, I don't know if we're going to find a solution today, but I think at least if we record the fact that this is something that can happen, and for inclusivity purposes,
Yeah.
we may well need to be able to cater for this. And it might be that there's a plan B. I don't know. I don't want to kind of talk off the top of my head, but I do think that we should register it.
Well, and that's what I was saying before, to accommodate both sides of the picture. Plus, there's neurodivergent people like myself too, right? So, I'm I'm autistic, so I tend to be overwhelmed a lot. So you saying that I have platform fatigue is basically saying, I wish you guys could understand the level of different things I'm doing at any given time. That's not just in the TEC. I have a full-time job and I participate in other DAOs. And so but then the ADHD thing is a real thing too. And so, that's another whole process. So what I was trying to suggest was that we could accommodate both sides of that picture by saying, okay, here's a person that has platform fatigue. Let's just get them onboarded, right, so that they know what the mission is and to understand that they're aligned and this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And then later on, you can say, okay, here's some platforms that we use, and it would be good if we could compress platforms like was suggested. I'm just resistant to clarity because I'm just tired of hearing yet another platform. But if it's going to mean that I don't have to use Miro and all these other things, it's also a good thing. Although there is some technical debt there in the sense that we've already dealt with D-work, and I don't know how you would get paid through Clarity, but I just wanted to point out that this is another graphic that I did about, the attention cycle. It's not complete, but, when you're talking about the left side, which is the overwhelm, and the right side, which is an ADHD mind, and there's a lot of us in this space. You gotta, you just gotta be mindful of some of the challenges of the people, who are kind of dealing with this, right? So, yeah. So, just FYI. But I think we can have the best of both worlds, to be sure. And
I think that's an important point, Durgadash,
yeah.
and I think we've registered it. I've been
Yeah.
talking about maybe starting some threads,
Mhm.
in the Gravity channel. So
Mhm.
I mean, maybe we could start a thread and discuss in there
Well,
how
come to the
we
website.
can try to move forward.
Come to the 11 a.m. PST Friday, website meetings. Just because I don't know if that's reasonable for you where you are in the world, but I did want to just bring something else up. Is it in the agenda or is it in the text chat that we're writing down right now?
Yes.
Because I saw something further up in the thread that I wanted to kind of talk about that I think we can handle in the.
are you talking about the
Here we
note
go.
or the thread?
There was a section in here where it says DAOs overwhelming our senses, and there's this thing. It says subthread gravity signal versus noise. The signal versus noise thing is actually explicitly addressed with I don't know if you've heard of a thing that Rebel Wisdom uses called Rule Omega, but it's actually a part of my sort of large 4 principle graphic. I included it in there. So I just feel like that is a really good. Again, I'll just sort of share my screen
Can
quickly.
you sum up Rule Omega?
It's literally I can just send you a link to the video. You can watch the video, and then it's like, oh, that's really clear about how to, basically there's this. Just to summarize, imagine you're in a meeting and you've got somebody talking, and either you're overwhelmed by the information, or you don't understand it, or you just think it's stupid, right? Or like I'm resisting adding in yet another platform, right? Because I'm just like, right? So there's no, all I'm hearing is noise when there's actually probably some signal in there. So my initial resistance, I had to use a Rule Omega reminder for myself to say, there's probably some signal inside of the message that a person's talking about clarity. If we can compress multiple tools down into a single tool, that would then actually solve my resistance. Do you know what I mean? So if I hadn't used this kind of Rule Omega idea where I was actively, as a part of my own internal process, and we as an internal process, similar to like a liberating structure, are looking for signal inside of noise, right? Then I might not have noticed it, right? But I have an internal habit of that, that helped me to, kind of get there, if you know what I mean. So what this is a bit more of an elaborate process for doing that inside of a group, and it's actually the process that all the people in Rebel Wisdom use, Jordan Peterson and all these other people, right? Jamie Wheel and Daniel Schmachtenberger, they all use with each other to make sure that they're not missing the signal inside of whatever thing they either are not smart enough to understand, or haven't been educated enough, or haven't studied, right? And because it might sound stupid to you because you just don't know anything about it, or it just might actually be stupid, right? So like trying to leave space for that kind of thing. So I'll put a link into that that YouTube video, and you guys can have a look at that.
So Dirgados in the context of like getting signal from noise from basically just all of our platforms. Yeah, I think Rule Omega is useful as in like a skill that individuals can utilize, but on like more the design end, how do we just facilitate that, knowing that some people won't be implementing like Rule Omega,
Right, and I think what I was suggesting was that the customer journey that I was showing earlier, where we've really got within that multi-graphic, you need to have multiple graphics because you need to know who you're talking to specifically and where they are in that point. But really, within that, there are only two narratives. One is the we want you to participate. Yay, welcome. You're a human being, blah, blah, blah. Like, we need to kind of establish what that onboarding narrative is, right? And to say how we as a Gravity group want to do that, as opposed to Token Engineering Commons or, anybody else. So I think we need to have discussions about that. And that's actually what we're doing when we're doing website design. And then there's another narrative, which then once you're participating, then how do you really, make that part of it work, right? So yeah, there's some platforms, but maybe you don't need to know all of them, because what you're doing or interested in is this, that, the other thing. So I think just by, instead of being like, welcome to Token Engineering Commons, now drink from the fire hose, that's what I'm trying to say, right? So, I think onboarding will be made more simply if we could give a person a staged or a phased approach into our process.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I think we have to wrap up. We're over time if anyone had to leave. But I guess my question is the website, so that will have like pretty much all of the Clarity features. Is that what we're shooting for? Like all the note management, kind of like
I haven't used Clarity for a second, so I have no concept of what's in it or what's not in it. So.
Yeah, and we posted this Sampo meeting note. Bear suggested that they just went over this yesterday. They kind of ran through Clarity, so that's why we posted that
Oh,
video.
cool. Well, maybe that's a thing we can talk about as a part of Friday. But I guess what I'm saying is regardless of whether we use this platform or not, I want all of the access to it to be easily found on the website. And it was also basically my suggestion that we kind of break up our, if we're going to do the website and Discord, that we break up, the Discord in such a way that we've got, light friendly, connecting human things on the front end, and then we can do all of the other, here's all the other platforms we use, and here's what might be appropriate for you if you're doing this, that, or the other, right? Once you're actually participating, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I'm just suggesting that we be, consistent about it all. That's the primary thing about marketing and communications, but also it helps with onboarding. And everyone functions through narratives, right? Every single thing is about a narrative. You have an internal narrative, and then you externalize that narrative. So I'm just trying to suggest that we have a very clear internal narrative, and we do a lot in the TEC. Well, what if we could do this, and what about this platform, and all this, and let's just be creative and all this stuff. But marketing, communications, and onboarding is not that. It's the opposite of that. It's actually just making everything as simple and clear as possible, and wait
Make it
till
yeah.
yeah.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to go really quickly on the mental health topic. Because we want to do the event next week, and we want to do it this month still. Me and Angie Berry, we did it last month, and it was great, and we wanted to do again this month. So we just wanted to ask if it was okay. If it is, what's the best day and the best time that you think? Last month, Dorgadas was kind of upset that he couldn't be on it because it was too early for him.
Yeah, when did you do it last week? And is this like something, or last month, and is this something that we want to be recurring and like we can get it on a schedule?
Yeah, so last month, we did on the last day of the month, I think. It wasn't on a Tuesday. No, it wasn't a Friday. It was the last Friday of the month.
Last Friday.
Yeah. So
I think my first thought is, since we still have Graviton training going, having like a big push on the mental health side of it during the Graviton training, maybe we can try to promote those during the Graviton trainings. To say, hey, show up on Thursday or whatever, we're having the mental health thing, that might help because we have more invested participants at that point
yeah,
than almost any other time.
we could do the same time as the book club was before.
Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was that? Noon my time, I think.
Yeah, it's after the community call.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Good for everybody.
Yeah.
Do we want to do the last Thursday of the month, or
We can do
do
that.
you want to do this weekly then, or just like once a month?
So our thought was to do like every other week, but
Every
because I was off 2 weeks, we didn't talk about it anymore. And I'm coming back this week, and we're bringing again this topic.
Maybe you could do the second, I mean, whichever day, Friday or the fourth Friday, and that would be a consistent thing.
Yeah. But then to do the Friday, it will have to be this Friday. Because next
And
week, the Friday is already next month.
yeah. And Fridays aren't the best time to have meetings. I started having my website meeting, and it was just really hard to find a time people would come.
Well, we can use that book. Did we have anything that didn't work on Thursday, or were we just trying to keep it on Friday?
No, the first week, the first meeting was just on Friday because of our agenda at the time. But I can do on Thursday. There's no problem for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that if everyone else is, and we can do that same time slot that the book club was. And do we want to do like every other week? And Bianca, this isn't research, this is more like just discuss like how we're doing, kind of like.
Yeah, just like talking about our mental health. It's not part of the research.
Okay. Yeah, just
Angie, do you
check.
want to say something?
Yeah, I think it'd be great next week. And yeah, what time was the book thing event?
It was 3 p.m. EST.
Yeah, because I remember last time it was a little bit too early.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
we
I think
can.
it was like 6 or 7 a.m. for me. So, God, bummer. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, the
it was.
time
Oh,
was kind
sorry.
of like that because we kind of did like last minute thing because the month was already ending again and Angie had to travel and it was kind of like crazy around
Yeah.
our schedules.
um, so Thursdays at noon for me and 3 p.m. EST. By the way, there